Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about sleeping with a TPF and how it actually affects your sleep. So when I initially had my accident on the 3rd of January, for the first 2 weeks, I really struggled to sleep. And it was because every time I would close my eyes or start to fall asleep, my whole body would jolt like... and it would jolt me awake, because every single time I closed my eyes, I would hear and I would feel the pop from my accident, because I had PTSD from it. And you will notice that it is very likely to get PTSD around this kind of injury, because it is an extremely severe trauma. And at that time, I didn't know. I really didn't know that until I joined the page on Facebook, which I, again, will link in the bio, the description. And, and I really struggled with those jolts, because I was like, what the heck? Like, I don't want to keep hearing it, like I hate this. I don't want to relive this every time I close my eyes. So yeah, for the first couple of weeks, that was what was really affecting my sleep, because every time I'd shut my eyes, I'd have to relive the noise of when, the injury happened, the big pop. A couple of weeks after that, I think I'd say from week 3 to probably the week of my surgery, my sleep did start to improve. And I was taking magnesium. I'd started taking magnesium, and the magnesium that I'm on, it's specifically for sleep and nerves. So it's for your muscles as well, because your leg, well, my leg would jolt quite a bit. Just have little like spasms, and it would jolt and stuff. And I think that's because everything inside my leg was almost reacting to the injury. And so, yeah, once I started taking magnesium, although it didn't put me to sleep, once I was able to fall asleep, I would sleep for a very decent period of time. Because, there would be times before surgery where I would be awake for 48 hours because I just couldn't sleep. And, you get to that point where you're so tired and you're exhausted that you're awake, if that makes sense. Your body's so overtired that it's working. I don't know how to explain that, but if you know, you know. Yeah, so I mean, there were definitely parts of that, but my sleep did start to improve. Like, once I was asleep, I was able to sleep through instead of sleeping for an hour or sleeping for 2 hours. Then I had surgery. My sleep after surgery was awful. In the hospital, I was able to fall asleep because they had me so drugged off my mind. I don't know how people do that shit for fun, I'm telling you, because that was an awful experience. But once I left hospital, I really struggled. That is when I really started struggling, because I was, at this point, it wasn't even pain anymore, because the pain that I had already endured, especially after surgery, that was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. Just pain didn't feel like pain, if that makes sense. It was, and the way I can describe it is, it was uncomfortable. There was so much discomfort in my knee, and I couldn't get comfortable. And I'm talking, this was probably 2 weeks after surgery. And I'm talking like I I just remember feeling so frustrated. So frustrated because, you know, I'd have my leg elevated and it didn't feel good, and, you know, I'd have it on a pillow or two pillows at that time. I'd have it on 2 pillows, and then, you know, it was okay, and then 2 minutes later, nah. So, you know, Kate stayed every night because I couldn't deal with it. I could not, like, because if you're in pain, you can take painkillers. If you are uncomfortable, there is nothing you can do. Like, there is nothing. You can try everything, but when you feel uncomfortable inside a part of your body, you can't do anything because it's not on the outside, it's on the inside. And so, you know, we would have like 10 pillows in my bedroom, and we would be swapping them out every 3 minutes to try to find the perfect 2 pillows for my leg to be on. And it just wouldn't happen. And I couldn't sleep sideways. I'm not a back sleeper, so that also really added to it. And, you know, we would go in between bedrooms because, you know, 1 minute my bed was comfortable, but then the next minute I couldn't do it. Like, I was so frustrated. So we'd go into the other room, and then I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm comfortable. And then 2 minutes later I was uncomfortable, and it is so frustrating. And it, you know, when you aren't sleeping properly, that also adds up to the mental toll of things. And, you know, I wouldn't fall asleep until 8, 9, 10 a.m. if I was lucky to even fall asleep. And it was just so bad. And, you know, whether I took magnesium or not, like I said, the magnesium for me, it doesn't put me to sleep. And I don't know if it's supposed to put you to sleep. I think it's more so just once you fall asleep, it helps your body fully relax and you get a good sleep. But, you know, in order for that to happen, you have to fall asleep. And that was something I was incapable of. You know, I'd have to sometimes lie in my mum's bed because that would kind of feel comfortable, and then 5 minutes later it was uncomfortable. And so that was something I really struggled with. And, you know, like, Kate's asleep, mum's asleep, I don't want to wake anyone up because I don't want to feel like a burden. But, you know, there were times I had to wake Kate up because I was like, I can't go through this by myself. Like, I felt like I could not be alone having to deal with this because it was too much. Like, it was exhausting, and, you know, it would bring me to tears because I'm like, I just want to sleep. That's all I want to do. I just want to go to sleep and not feel like this. But I couldn't get to sleep. And I think that's something really important because, you know, when I was trying to find research and stuff, no one really spoke about the sleep side of things. And it was something that I really struggled with, and not knowing that other people were struggling with it made me feel really alone and just like, am I the only one that's going through this? Like, you know, but yeah, so I just want to say that, you know, if you are watching this and stuff, like, you aren't alone, because a lot of people, especially on the page, have all had issues with sleeping because it's very hard. And, you know, even if you manage to fall asleep, you only get like an hour or two. But it does get better because now I'm starting to really consistently sleep. I'm falling asleep at a decent time for me. And I'm waking up, you know, around 9:30, 10 in the morning, which is really good for me because I, you know, if I can sleep for as long as I can sleep, I will do it because my body needs that, because your body needs sleep to help recover. And also, here's an interesting fact is, you know, because I would be okay throughout the day. You know, it wasn't affecting me enough to make me feel really uncomfortable. And that's why at nighttime I was getting so frustrated, because I would be like, but I've been fine all day, so why the hell can't I sleep now? And that's when I started doing a lot of research. A lot of the research I would do would be at nighttime, because that's when I was affected the most by my leg and feeling uncomfortable. And interestingly enough, it is because at nighttime your blood pressure lowers and your body is getting ready to go to sleep. And at nighttime, that is when everything inside your leg is coming together to heal. You heal the most at night, and that is why it was feeling so uncomfortable. So it, you know, it wasn't that I was uncomfortable 24/7. Obviously I'd be more comfortable if I hadn't had the injury, but for the injury I was comfortable enough throughout the day, and then nighttime was really bad. And it, you know, once I kind of knew that, I was, you know, I'd give myself little pep talks like, oh, good, like, you know, you're healing, you're feeling uncomfortable because you're healing. So now we need to try and sleep, we need to try and rest. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, that didn't often work, but it was just flipping the script in my brain to know that even though I wasn't falling asleep, but I knew that I was uncomfortable because everything inside me was healing. And I remember coming across that information, and I found that really important. So if you are still watching, just remember that, you know, when you do, if you've just had surgery or after you had surgery, and you know, you may not have known why, but that is why at nighttime it's so much more uncomfortable, because everything inside is healing, you know. But yeah, it definitely is. It's a frustrating feeling. It's, you know, very, very fucking annoying. Excuse the language. But it really is, and it takes a massive toll, and all of that adds up to, you know, the mental and emotional side of things as well. But yeah, so I just thought I'd make a video about that, just because I think it's really important to know. So yeah, and there we go. So if you're not sleeping good, you know, I definitely would recommend magnesium. Even if you are sleeping good, I still would recommend magnesium, because it's really good for your muscles and your nerves, and that's what you want to get as well. Like, you know, you want to target those parts. But yeah, so definitely look into magnesium. And yeah, thank you guys for listening.